At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning. It is time for Coffee with Krueger. It starts every weekday morning at 7 a.m. to get you out the door in the morning so you know what to expect. And I'm not going to tell you what to wear. I'm not going to tell you to wear sunglasses. If it's going to be sunny skies, you know to wear sunglasses. If you wear sunglasses, not everybody does. You know to wear something to kind of keep you cool during the day. But here's the thing. Temperatures have been really nice over the last few days, haven't they? And they've been absolutely gorgeous. It hasn't felt like summer, although typically it's not. I mean, technically it's not summer yet. It's not summer until, Thursday. And here's kind of a cool double whammy on Thursday. Not only is it the first day of summer, but it's the 1-year anniversary of Weather NorCal. How appropriate is that? I'm loving that. And it's been a year. Can you believe it? For those of you that are watching right now, I want you to go back a year from now. In fact, a little over a year from now. And when you thought I was gone for good, right? And then suddenly, boom, I launched this almost a year ago, Weather NorCal. And it's grown and it's growing, it's growing. And more and more of you are coming up to me and saying, hey, I watch you on Weather NorCal. And I want you, if you see me, don't be shy. Say, hey, Mike, I love watching you on Weather NorCal. And I'm always excited to hear that because that tells me that people are watching, that Weather NorCal is a success, and we are going to continue to move forward. We're getting new sponsors, and this is great because the more sponsors, the more money I can put into Weather NorCal, and the fact that I can still pay my bills too. That's always nice. Tell you what, let's take a look at those current conditions out there right now. Before we do that though, let's see if there's anybody out there who's saying hello, good morning. I always love to see those good morning cheery faces in the morning. But there you can see right now, we take a look at the current conditions and you can see 67 degrees right now in Reading. It's beginning to feel cooler out there in the morning, isn't it? 59 degrees for Corning, 64 degrees in Willows. But we also have some pretty cold temperatures. In fact, some of us in the higher elevations are at that freezing point. Now, as a result, even yesterday, the Weather Service in Modoc County in northeastern Siskiyou County issued a freeze warning for those areas because of those temperatures dropping right around or even just below freezing. Take a look at the visibility. It's actually looking pretty good. I'm going to take you out to a camera here in, not Sundial Bridge. We'll take a look at this one. This is out in Crescent City, out at the Harbor District camera. This is the Harbor District out there. You can see, I mean, you look off the distance, you can't even see the marine layer. So it's really nice to see those sunny, I mean, I'm sure those of you on the coast just absolutely love to start off the day like this, right? Instead of those overcast skies. We take you out to Elk Country, just north of Trinidad. Turning out to be a gorgeous morning there as well. Looks like we are seeing some pretty nice weather out along the coast. Let's take a look at that out the door forecast this morning. And you can see, looking at temperatures, this morning in the low 50s for places like Trinity County, the North Coast, and even in the eastern mountains. But yeah, not a bad start to the day in the valley with temperatures mid to even upper 60s here as we go into the 8 o'clock hour. Now, you may remember yesterday I was talking about the red flag warning expiring at 8 o'clock this morning. But early this morning, the National Weather Service decided to extend that warning until noon today. And there's, of course, a reason for that. Those winds are really starting to pick up again this morning. It's breezy, borderline windy, depending on where you are. Now, with all of that said, we take a look at the gusts out there this morning, and there it is. Look at the valley. We're still seeing those strong winds this morning. We're at about 23 miles per hour in Willows, 11 miles per hour in Reading. Again, these are the gusts. We're probably looking at some higher gusts in some areas here. And when we look at the winds through the rest of the day today, Well, there you can see we're still seeing noon. Again, this is about the time that the red flag warning should be allowed to expire, but especially as we go through the afternoon, you can see we're beginning to see less and less of those winds, and those winds are starting to relax a little bit. Now, we look at the fire weather risk later today. You're barely seeing some yellows in there, indicating that, yes, indeed, we still have at least that moderate fire danger. Now, speaking of fire danger, I want to show you what we've got going on here. Now, the biggest fire, at least closest to us right now, of course, as you know, the hidden fire was the big one. That is pretty much at 45% containment right now. There are no evacuation orders. There are still just some evacuation warnings, knowing that you just need to make sure that if you live in this area around the hidden fire, that you may still get that evacuation order before you, at a moment's notice. So make sure you got everything ready to go, but they are at 45% containment there. Haven't seen this grow. So that certainly is some good news there. Now, what I want to do is zoom it out because the big story is the Sites fire. This is in Colusa County, as it's just getting close to the foothills there and to the mountains on the west side of the valley. Now, this is a fire. Let's click on this one and see the latest. The fire is 1,300 acres. So we're now getting to a fire that is the largest we've seen so far for the season. Now, per air attack continues to burn at a moderate to dangerous rate of spread parallel to Leeville Road. Now, the current camera can be viewed in the link below. Let's go ahead and click on that. And there you can see what that fire is looking like at the current hour. And if we take a look at a time lapse, let's take it out the last 6 hours. See if that kind of loads up. And they're probably going to move the camera once the fire kind of starts up here. We go into the overnight, and it doesn't look like there's much going on overnight. And then, okay, that's interesting. There we go. So they didn't turn the camera on there until the last, I don't know what, let's do the last 2 hours. See what it looks like. Not even the last 2 hours. Let's take it to the last hour, maybe 30 minutes. That's all we're really going to get here. So the last 30 minutes, you can see that fire. I mean, we're getting a big plume of smoke. And you can see that smoke is spreading southward. Now, we don't have to worry too much about that smoke for now because it's all spreading southward. So we're probably not going to see smoke from that fire. But this is something we've got to keep a close eye on because it is outside of our area. But of course, we've got to watch for our neighbors down to the south. Now, it looks like, based on, as we zoom it in here, not a ton of residences, although we can see that there is a bit of a community here to the west of the fire. So, you know, it's just one of those things where I'm sure people who live in that area got to keep a close eye on it. So again, we look at that fire weather risk. It is in the moderate stage here for today. Now, the area of low pressure that brought us the gusty winds yesterday, and even this morning, it's moving out, and our winds are going to begin to relax as a result. Now, we look at Futurecast. Now, yesterday, and even earlier this morning, it was showing that there may be a chance for a stray shower for some of us in the eastern mountains. Now, I still have that included in the forecast, but honestly, I think we're going to be mainly dry even for Siskiyou, Modoc, and the eastern mountains. Temperatures yesterday, another gorgeous day. It was not 65 in Red Bluff. Come on, data, update properly. It was more like 85 in Red Bluff, but you get the idea. It was a gorgeous day yesterday, but we look at the forecast today, not the case. We're warming back up into the low 90s for today. So we're going to be right around normal for this time of the year in the valley. Now for the mountains, obviously not as warm, but still it's warming up there as well in the mid to upper 70s. And even some of the warmer spots around 80 degrees. And for the coast, we're looking at temperatures in the low 60s today. So let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for the valley to start off with. And you can see temperatures are increasing. Now, as I mentioned, Thursday is the first day of summer. That's when we get up to about 100 degrees, but it warms up even more on the second day of summer with 106 degrees for Redding. We take you out into the coast, inland, Trinity County. Now the coast, obviously not much of a warming trend there, low to mid 60s for the next 7 days, but we're warming up for the inland areas. And the peak will probably be sometime around Thursday, Friday, and then temperatures start to kind of drop again. Now the peak for Weaverville and Trinity County will be Friday and Saturday before we see another dip in those temperatures. And for Siskiyou County, Modoc County, Eastern Mountains, honestly, I probably should have taken out that chance in the forecast there in the 7-day outlook, but I'm going to keep it in there because if you see a stray sprinkle, don't be surprised, but don't cancel any outdoor plans. If you're a roofer, if you work outdoors, don't even come close to worrying about this, because this is not going to be a big deal if anything should develop. Let's take a look at the Lake Oroville camera out at North Forebay, and you can see a little bit of a breeze down there in Oroville. We take you out to Main Street, Chico, and it looks like traffic is flowing smoothly there. And we've got, of course, the sunny skies to start off the day here. This is looking at Highway 99 at Neal Road. Looks like a lot of traffic out there this morning. This is when I'm glad I work at home, folks. I don't have to worry about those morning commutes, traffic, all that stuff. How many of you at home? How many of you work at home and are glad you do? You know, there is something to say for working in an office environment, because you have camaraderie, you work with your, sometimes you make new friends, but it's fun. It's fun working at home. I love it. By the way, I want to remind you to send those pictures in. And David Hoffman listened to me, and he sent out a picture. This is out on I-5 near Weed. You can see the kind of in the left part of your screen there, those lenticular clouds coming off of Mount Shasta. So it's a beautiful picture there. So again, I want to remind you, share your photos. I want to see more of you share your photos. Please do that for me. It's really easy. From your iPhone, from your Android, right? You can send it right there from the app. Just scroll to the very bottom of the app and it will say share your photos, and it will direct you to it. And you have to remember too to have the app. And the best way to do that is to download the free Weather NorCal app on your phone. Search for Weather NorCal and download the app for free today. And if you have a Fire Stick or Roku, there's an app for that as well. You can watch the 24-hour streaming channel. Smart TVs, most people have smart TVs these days, and most of those TVs, if not all of them, will have a YouTube app on it. All you got to do is go to the Weather NorCal YouTube page, and you can watch not only the 24-hour streaming channel, but the latest video as well. All right, let's take a look at what's going on out there this morning and see how everybody's doing. Good morning from Wanda Hutchins. So glad you could join us this morning. And we've got Rowdy Kelly, marine layer in Fortuna. Oh, looks like we have a bit of that marine layer. I am going to pop up an image that might be of useful to you. That might be of use to you. Let me take a look at that. Let's see if we can load that up. We got the fire temperature in there. Let's see if we can just do the geocolor. See if that'll load it up and see if we can see that marine layer. All right, I just love using all the different tools out there and see if we can. I wish I had that loaded up. It's kind of taken a while to load up. In the meantime, we will see how everybody else is doing out there this morning. We got Ruth Sanchez saying good morning. We got Curtis Brown from 7 miles west of Red Bluff. And it was at the coast for a few days resting. Now back to work on our defensible space. Good. Got to work on that defensible space. Doesn't look like it wants to load up. Let me see if I can do less images. That might help. A lot of times it just depends on what's going on here. Come on, seriously? Do you have to do this to me? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. So yeah, look at that. I'm going to take you to this image here. It's kind of cool. This is what our friend Rowdy Kelly is saying in Fortuna. Look at that. Of course, you know, there's Humboldt Bay, right? And you can see that the marine layer in there that has kind of gone down into where we're seeing there in Fortuna. Kind of interesting. So we are seeing some of that fog to the south, right, near Eureka. But again, you look at Elk Country, north of Trinidad. You also look at the sunset cam in places like Crescent City, and you can see there we've got sunny skies. So, I mean, it's just, you never know sometimes, right? I mean, you can wake up in the morning and before you know it, we are dealing with fog out there. So that's Curtis Brown. Diane saying good morning and a wonderful day to you and yours. Thank you. Same to you, Diane. Lisa Stevens saying, I work from home and so much more convenient. And I must throw in my coffee much better than the office. Well, yeah, right? Isn't your own personal coffee better? Because you get to choose the type of coffee you have, and you can make your coffee however you want. You know, I remember at the TV station, you know, you would have that issue too, where you had that, you know, we had that industrial type coffee maker that you'd see at restaurants, but people would drain it all the way down, and then they have just a little bit of coffee in there, and then they would burn all that coffee in the carafe. It was terrible. It is frustrating how sometimes people just don't think. It's like they're not at home or something and they don't think about it. But I am glad that you get to work from home, Lisa. Isn't that just, it's great. I love it. I've really been enjoying it. And as Weather NorCal grows, I was talking about that earlier, one of my plans is to be able to get a much bigger studio. I mean, this is a joke, but we'll get there one day, okay? But when you have a bigger studio, make it look a lot fresher and better. But of course, that takes money, and so eventually you got to make that investment and get into that. But one of the cool things is I can remote into my computer. I'll still be able to keep this office once I do eventually get a bigger studio. I'll be able to stay in this office. I can keep this green screen behind me, and I can still do my weather forecast from here, just with the weather computer somewhere else. Because why would I want a bigger studio, you may ask? Well, number one, I'd like Coffee with Krueger to be bigger and to be better than it is right now. And it will be that way. I feel that. I've been talking to some people behind the scenes. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm trying to get things in the works, and we're in the very beginning phases of trying to get a few yeses or nos on agreeing on things. So this is getting exciting, folks. This is, again, we're getting on that 1-year anniversary of Weather NorCal. And we're certainly seeing some good growth here. So I'm just loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. This has been great. This has been, woo, roller coaster ride, right? Ups and downs, I tell you what. Good morning from Bill Carlton and Jeff Johnson. Good morning from David Hoffman. Thank you, Dave, for sending in that picture. And I want you all to follow Dave's example, okay? And send in your photos. It's really easy, man. You just, it's just anything. On your walk, your dog. I know a lot of you love your dogs. Take pictures of your dogs. Share a picture of your dog. I love it. We love dogs. Your cat. Your pet rat, your pet snake, whatever. It's fun. Everybody loves to share photos. And see, the thing is, without you all, Weather NorCal would not exist. So I want to, and since Weather NorCal is such a really cool platform that we can all interact with one another, I want to get to know you better, just as you kind of have gotten to know me better over the last year or so as I share more and more stuff on Facebook. And I plan on doing more of that too. I need to get more I need to get more active with, stuff that I do during the day. But honestly, sometimes my days are pretty boring. So it's not much I can share. Good morning from Kim Martin Lyle. Thank you so much for chiming in this morning. I appreciate that. I always appreciate even just a quick good morning. It's always nice to see your shiny faces in the morning. And if you can't interact, well, that might be because you're on Roku or Amazon Fire Stick watching the 24-hour streaming channel, or you may be watching from your computer on YouTube. Although if you're watching from your computer on YouTube, you can interact. You can just go in the comment section there in that live section, and it will show up there on my feed. Also, you won't be able to interact if you are watching from YouTube on your TV, though. Marguerite Robertson is saying, garden is growing. Great, Mike. Yes, it is growing. We're probably seeing a lot more of those gardens just beginning to grow. It hasn't been too hot. We've had a couple of those heat waves, but as long as you keep those gardens watered, you're in good shape. And the good news is we're not in a drought. You don't have to worry about that, at least just yet, although it's always still good if you can to help kind of preserve that water. All right, this is great. I'm loving interacting with you all. Thank you so much for chiming in this morning. I really do enjoy it, and I just love to know what's going on with your day, such as Lynn saying and commenting how she loved the great weather this last week. And yeah, last week was awesome. Let's see if I can pull up that calendar. No, I can't. I might be able to. Let's see if it's in there. Ooh, yeah. Let's take a look at what the weather looked like this June. And you said great weather last week. Although, if we look at the calendar, so this is what June looks like. And you can see we actually started off with a couple of heat waves there. So last week, you can see we were 106, 107 degrees. But by the end of last week and this past weekend, gorgeous, right? 88 degrees on Saturday, 87 on Sunday. Yesterday was the peak of the cooling trend with 85 degrees. So that blue is saying, hey, it was below normal. But by today, when we start seeing those those temperatures come back in, we're going to be looking at more of those oranges above normal. Hopefully we don't break any records, but it certainly isn't out of the question. But yeah, great weather. Yes, last weekend. Yeah, because last week I was thinking, was it really nice last weekend? As I recall it, it really wasn't. And that's where having these cool maps here really does help. So thank you, Lynn. And let me know what you got going on for the day. But in the meantime, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get to the deeper dive forecast. We took a look at some of the forecasts. We showed you what's going on with the fire weather and all that good stuff. Now let's go into forecasts where I get into get to the weather wall. We kind of go into your forecast here and all that good stuff. But before we do that, remember I was talking about how Weather NorCal is growing. You got sponsors. Well, one of my many sponsors is Wind River Resort and Casino, and with Coffee with Krueger is made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino, where you can enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. So let's take a look at those current conditions out there right now. Those temperatures, they're still on the cool side this morning. We can really be grateful for that before the heat begins to kick in later on in the afternoon. So you can see out towards Redding, 67 degrees, 62 degrees for Oroville. But where we have the freeze warning is in Modoc County. Look at the temperature in Altura. It's actually not that bad at 40 degrees. But look at Bernie, 32 degrees, 33 degrees in Chester. And we got those upper 40s right now along the coast. So there's that freeze warning for Modoc County, northeastern Siskiyou County, until 8 o'clock in the morning. But you saw there are other areas outside of this warning where we are seeing those freezing temperatures. So the weaker winds this afternoon, the red flag warning unfortunately has been extended until noon today. But as the winds die down, the fire danger will also die down as well. But just as those winds die down, temperatures are going back up. And the warming trend starts today. We're going to notice it, but we'll notice it even more over the next couple of days with a slight chance for some mountain showers. Quite honestly, I should probably take that out of the forecast. And, because anything we do see today will be few and far between in the mountains. And honestly, I think most of you are going to be dry through the day and mainly dry through the week. Although looking at Thursday, that may change a little bit here. Taking a look at, of course, that red flag warning, as I mentioned, is extended until noon today. That's because the winds through noon are still going to be fairly strong. They're still pretty gusty in some spots here for the valley this morning. That's why we still have the red flag warning. Now, right around noon or just before that, you can still see those gusty winds over 20 miles per hour. But by this afternoon, now we're breaking away from that. You see how we're seeing less of those greens? These numbers are just going to be some particular areas, but if you look at the colors in the background here, you get in the blues, that's 10 miles per hour. You get into the greens, that's 20. You get in yellows, now you're talking 30. So we're really not seeing a lot of greens on the map, which indicates much weaker winds. And that's the case as we take you into your Wednesday as well. Looks like a little breezy off to the east, and of course that north breeze that we are seeing for the coast on Wednesday as well. We take you into your Thursday, and yeah, it looks like the wind's kind of picking up again for some of the higher elevations. Now, one of the things we have to keep in mind when we're looking at this is that the fire danger hasn't been too terribly high in the mountains here lately. But that is going to be changing soon. And the reason being, because over the last couple of weeks, you may have noticed the humidity levels are getting rather low, especially in Modoc County, the eastern mountains, and even Siskiyou County. And we're beginning to start to see Trinity County get in on some of those lower humidity levels. Now, the reason I mention that is because the more days we see of this dry weather, the drier it's going to start to get in those higher elevations. A lot of the green that we have in those mountain locations is going to start turning into brown as things begin to dry out. And we're already seeing a ton of that in the valley right now, right? And with those humidity levels down to the single digits, that's the case over the next few days. As we go into Thursday, still looking at very low relative humidity, and even for many of the mountain locations. So the key factor is this. The winds, as you saw, are dying down. And as a result, our fire weather risk is dropping. There's what it looks like today. We take you into Wednesday. We still have a lot of the yellows, but also notice the winds are more from the south by the time we get into Wednesday. Okay, then we go into Thursday, And that fire weather risk is still within that moderate range, but once again, still looking at those mainly southerly flow of winds. So the fire potential, this is just coming in from another forecast office. The brown is indicating that you've got that moderate risk. This is usually just one of those things like, hey, listen, it's dry, it's hot, just be careful. But the winds aren't a factor. When we start kicking up those winds, when we start seeing excessive heat, then you'll see an H or a W. The W will mean that it's wind, and the H will mean that it's really hot out there, all right? So as we go into Wednesday, still in that moderate range, but you can see this went from moderate to low risk. So we are seeing improving conditions here over the next few days. Look at the clouds off to our west, by the way. We'll probably start to see some of those start to come in here later this afternoon, but you'll notice too, as they approach, they're eroding away. That's because we do have that little bit of a high pressure in place, and that's keeping that from really keeping in. By the way, this is the area of low pressure that's been giving us those gusty winds, not to mention the cooler weather we've seen over the past weekend. That cooler air is riding northward. Now, the overall trend is this. You'll see a big bubble of heat to our west and a big bubble of heat over the eastern United States. The key to that is we still have a trough of low pressure right here. You see that? Here's the jet stream, okay? And I probably should have painted it in there. I'll maybe do that for tomorrow. But their jet stream is situated like this. Now, typically, in that trough of low pressure, you have cooler air. And essentially, we kind of do. It's still going to be warm. We're looking at a warming trend. That's just because these areas of high pressure are expanding, and that heat expands into our region. But what prevents those bubbles of heat from really building over us are these storm systems that continue to ride to our north. Now, this is something that I don't typically talk a lot about as we get into the summer season, because that colder air just stays way to the north, and we see this big ridge of high pressure building in, especially over the desert southwest, and we see that kind of make its way into our region, and we see excessively hot temperatures. But that's not the case. Although as we go into this weekend, yes, that's building, it's expanding, and these two are kind of battling it out. This heat wants to build in, this cooler air wants to move in. So they're kind of equaling each other out, and as a result, we're in between the two, and we see hot temperatures. But if we didn't have this there, this would be expanding even more in our region, and it would be even hotter. So when you're getting into the end of the week and this upcoming weekend, you're saying, man, it's hot, and you're complaining about it, just keep reminding yourself that it could be worse. Okay, because these storm systems are saving grace from getting up to 110 plus. And we have yet to see that 110 degree reading. Hey, wouldn't it be great if we could make it through a summer without 110 plus? And with the way things are going now, it feels like that could happen, but we'll see. I doubt it. I mean, come on. 110 degrees, that's pretty common for us these days. So there's the warmer than normal temperatures kind of in southern portions of our area, but really in that near normal category. So again, yes, it's going to be hot, but we'll probably see another dip in our temperatures after this upcoming weekend. You'll see that trend. You see Friday, Saturday, even into Sunday, that's the peak. But you see how we're starting to see a bit of a downward trend going into early next week. Now that's for the valley. That's also for the mountains. It's going up and then a downward trend going into Monday, Tuesday of next week. That's a look at Alturas, but that's the mountains in general. And then, of course, Eureka. You always got to put this in here for fun. And, of course, you're on the coast. You want to know what your trend is. Well, there's your trend. All of us who live in the valley are envious of those temperatures. I know I am. I know I am. Let's take a look at Futurecast. Now, yesterday, and even early this morning, it was indicating that there could be a few stray showers. It's been backing off a bit here with the latest forecast model data, but I'm still keeping that chance in there. But just know that if you see anything in Siskiyou, Modoc, or even Lassen County, it's going to be few and far between, if anything. So remember I was mentioning those clouds off to the west. Those may kind of filter in here as we go into tomorrow morning. By the way, look at the coast. We're beginning to see that marine layer begin to make its way back. You can also see Fortuna, seeing some of that fog kind of filtering in as well. But yeah, I mean, even places like Crescent City. So tomorrow afternoon, we may be talking a bit more in the way of fog for places along the coast. And then we go into Thursday, and still looks like that marine layer is going to hold on pretty strong. Look at this. For Futurecast indicating up by Thursday, maybe a chance for a shower or two for some of the higher elevations once again. So, you know, I may be including that in the forecast here, probably for my evening forecast, if I start seeing a little bit more consistency in that. But I haven't set that in stone just yet. Now, we look at the wave heights, and you can see they are actually starting to drop a little bit today. As we go into tomorrow, we're just not going to see much change. But with that all said, we look at the marine forecast. You see the north winds at 10 to 15 knots. The small craft advisory is expected to expire at 9 o'clock this morning. We'll see if that gets issued for later times. But there's a look at your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Highway 299, mid-80s for Weaverville. You head out towards Burnt Ranch, you're talking about a temperature of about 78 degrees. 83 degrees for a high today in Hayfork, 77 for Wildwood. Temperature is increasing, then going back down towards the end of the weekend and beginning of next week. Now your North Coast neighborhood forecast for southern Humboldt County, 79 for Redway, 79 degrees for Garberville, and Red Crest about 68 degrees. So there's that fog we're seeing this morning. Should burn off though later on this afternoon with 63 degrees in Fortuna, 63 degrees in Rio Del. We take you up north with 68 for Trinidad, 61 in Eureka, Willow Creek about 84 degrees with those temperatures increasing inland as well over the next couple of days. Look for a high of 84 degrees today in Orleans, 65 in Oric and Smith River, about 69 degrees. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast along the Highway 96 corridor there, temperatures low to mid 80s for I-5. Temperatures right around 80 degrees, give or take. Take you to the south out towards Scott Valley, 78 degrees for Greenview as well as Etna, 78 degrees for Callahan. And how about Siskiyou County to the central and eastern Siskiyou County? Well, it looks like Mount Shasta about 78 and some of those higher elevations up there into the northeast in the low 70s for your daytime highs there. And Modoc County, also looking at low to maybe even some mid-70s this afternoon with that increase in the temperatures going through the rest of the week and into this weekend. Your eastern mountains, neighborhood forecast, 75 for Hat Creek, 80 degrees for Paynes Creek. Shingletown, 77, a bit cooler up the hill there. It's Viola at about 72 degrees. And there's a look at Lake Almanor, Lassen Park. Of course, the slight chance for those showers in there. But again, most of it will be the highest of elevations, especially out towards Lassen Park. There's a look at Paradise. You're seeing an increase getting into the mid-90s by Friday, Saturday, low to upper 90s by the time we get into Friday, Saturday, and mid-90s by Sunday. Here's your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor with your temperatures right around 90, give or take, pretty much anywhere you go in the Valley. There you can see about 90 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake. A bit cooler though in Lakehead at 84, 86 degrees for Whiskeytown, and Palisadro about 90 degrees. So let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for Redding. We're back up to near 100 degrees by the first day of summer. Yes, the summer solstice will arrive on Thursday, and the 1-year anniversary will also of Weather NorCal will also arrive on Thursday, but it's getting much warmer by Friday with a high of 106 degrees. Yep, back up to 100 degrees or higher. Now, you always hear that, hey, you know, drink your coffee with ice cubes. No, if it's a hot day, don't drink coffee like I am now. And you know why, right? Because it dehydrates you. So if you're going to have that cup of coffee, make sure you supplement it with water to kind of help rehydrate you as you kind of go through the day. Let's see what's going on out there since I've been gone here. And not gone, but doing the forecast. We have got Forbestown, fire-wise, is splitting firewood today. I guess maybe getting ready for next winter already. Why not, right? Not a bad idea. Let's see here. We've got Lynn Jones saying, I don't mind the heat, just not all week long. You know, you're right. We're used to the heat around here, but when you get these extended periods, that's when, really honestly, you know, we talk about the dangerous heat, especially if it's a prolonged period of time, 4 or 5, 6 days, that's when it can be most dangerous because it's hard for us to recover. Love the cool nights and early morning. I can turn on the whole house fan and bring in cooler air inside. Close up the house and it stays cool inside all day. Don't have to use the AC. That is awesome, Lynn. I envy you. I've seen those whole house fans before, and what a great concept. I think for places like here in the Valley, like for Redding, for example, it might be good for a good portion of the day, but eventually you're going to have to probably kick on that AC a little bit later here. Mike, any plans to broadcast the Sundial Bridge 20-year anniversary event? Oh, you know what? I had heard about that. I was talking to someone the other day about that. I'll have to look into that. Thank you, Krista. That would be kind of fun to maybe go out there. I'm assuming I can find information online about it. 20-year anniversary. Sundial Bridge. Let me check that out. Celebrate 20 years at the Sundial Bridge. Visit Reading, of course, they have it. Visit Reading is a great resource, by the way. Join us as we celebrate. Let's put it on there here. There you go, Krista. So it says, join us as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the world-famous Sundial Bridge. And it is, gosh, what is his name? Santiago something, the designer. Oh, there it is. Santiago Calatrava. The Sundial Bridge has stood a symbol of inspiration and captivated visitors from around the world since its opening in 2004. Yeah, how many times have you been on the bridge, right? And you hear all these foreign languages. People are coming to check it out. Oh, look at this. Deborah Ann just posted a link. So let's check that link out. I'm going to go ahead and put celebrate20.com. How did they get that web domain? Celebrate20.com. Okay, so there it is. Bandaloop at the Sundial Bridge, Friday, June 28th. All right, so we've still got some time. I can plan this. I can get around this. So it starts at 9:30 in the morning. Now, how fun would it be? Maybe I could be able to do this. We'll see. But if I can get internet access out there, and maybe if I'm lucky enough, I'll be able to do that, get that from maybe Turtle Bay or something. I'll talk to some of my connections over there. But that sounds exciting. I'm going to put that in my calendar. Thank you so much, Krista, for recommending that. I love that idea. I think it would be fun to come out live. Maybe if I can talk to some of the officials. But look at that. They're going to have the Bandaloop at the Sundial Bridge. And that, I don't know if that's on both days or both nights. But that would be fun. Maybe I could broadcast live from there even in the evening as well. And since it is on a weekend, it'll be easier for me to, kind of break out and do that. Let me check my calendar. Let me check my calendar. I have nothing going on that weekend that I know of. And the next thing you know, my wife will say, hey, we're doing this or we're doing that. But no, I love that idea. That's a great idea. I am going to go out and have to start scouting some areas where I could broadcast live and maybe get some interviews with people. That'd be fun. Do the morning forecast on Friday and maybe Friday evening be there as well for that big event with those guys of the Bandaloop. That would be fun. And then I could get the camera on there for people who can't be there. They can see it. Because that's a big deal. I remember when that bridge was being built. I remember the whole, just the grand opening of it all. So awesome. Such a great addition to our community here in Reading. So yeah, that's awesome. And I've actually been fortunate enough. Here's what's neat. I could see if I can find Milwaukee. What is it? What are they? I'm just going to put Santiago. I bet you. There it is. Yes. Check this out. So let's visit. Let's see if we can get a big picture of it. Well, no, it won't give me. But if you look at it, and it looks like there is a, you can check out all the different, check that out. Inside that thing. So there's a family reunion. If you don't know, I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I've got a lot of family there. And there was a family reunion, 3-4 years ago. And we had an opportunity to go to this structure here. What do they call it? World Trade Center Transportation Hub. Is that what it's called? But it's meant, because it's on, no, that's a different one. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one, folks. I'm looking at the wrong one. This is the one in Milwaukee. So that's on the lake. And what it does, you can see how it opens up. It's supposed to mimic a sail. So on windy days, they actually don't put it up because it's dangerous. But they, during the day, will have it up. Now, we were out there when it was cold, wet, and windy, and we didn't get to see it like in that state. But it was gorgeous. Going inside that thing was pretty darn cool. That's a different one, but you can see some of the structures that they have there. So definitely really cool. Great idea, Krista. I certainly appreciate that idea. Absolutely love it. I think the news said both days it will be there. Amelia. The news. No, I'm just kidding, of course. Yeah, and the news. Yeah, that's awesome. Celebrate 20. And of course, other things here. Oh, event details. Here we go. So here we go. So on Friday, oh, the event opens at 7:30. So how cool. I could start Coffee with Krueger at 7 a.m. and then the event will open at 7:30 in the morning. Then the bridge closes at 9 a.m. So of course they'll have shows. So shows will begin at 9:30. The bridge reopens at 10:15, and then the evening show. And then there'll be another show. So it looks like, yeah, I bet you parking is going to be a nightmare. Let's see. We can take a look at the. See what they do. Ooh.
We are Bandaloop.
Bandaloop. Look at some of the stuff that they do here.
That specializes in large scale.
That's pretty impressive stuff, folks. So I guess these people, this group, is going to be out here. And if I'm not mistaken, no, it's okay, Amelia. That's okay. I was just kidding. Listen, I have no hatred towards the news. None at all. Because I think they're still a great source of information. I just choose not to associate with them because, like many people, I've been kind of frustrated with the direction it's going. But again, that's beside the point. Look at Bandaloop here. What? On the mountains, like in some mountain. Oh, is that Yosemite? They were out at Yosemite doing their thing. That's what's that? So yes, they obviously do some really cool stuff. They're impressing me with. Let's see here. What else we got here? Wow, they go on like sides of buildings. Cool. All right, so they're going to be here in Reading. Check them out. Well, that'll be definitely cool. But I would plan on. I'm going to try to see if I can do this. But again, I got to have internet access. I would plan on next Friday morning to be there for it. Not necessarily Saturday, because Saturday's a weekend. I'm off on Saturdays, folks. That's bottom line. No, just kidding. If something big happens, I'll, of course, be there. Yeah, and then the evening show. So, yeah, both days, Friday and Saturday. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. I absolutely love it. Well, how much fun was that? I love it when you all kind of get the conversation started, because then we never know where it will go, right? And then people can talk about the news. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Amelia. I'm just kidding. I'll come in Friday to see you. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to meet you. So, yeah, keep reminding me during the week. Maybe we'll kind of talk about it. We'll discuss it, all that good stuff. And we'll see if we can make that happen. Because we know I can do it. I did it from the Cowboys, Asphalt Cowboys Pancake Breakfast for the Reading Rodeo. I was out there. I had Wi-Fi. And as long as I have good Wi-Fi connection, then I can do it. And I bet you our friends over at Turtle Bay would be more than happy to give me access to that, to their Wi-Fi if they have it close enough. That'd be cool. Of course, there's a hotel over there too. So maybe I could get access to the Wi-Fi there as well. Okay, so that is a look at that. There's your 7-day forecast. We're going to wrap things up this morning. Thanks again for all of you chiming in. By the way, I do want to remind you all that I want your photos. Send your photos like the one that we got from our friend David Hoffman. You can send those from the free Weather NorCal app, and that's the best way to do it. And I'll be able to get that shared. Everyone can watch. It's really can look at it, and I'll share it here on Coffee with Krueger. I'll share it on my morning broadcast, my morning update as well. It usually uploads no later than 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes earlier. So be sure to check that out. But I want your photos. Please send them. If you don't see them the day of or the day after, don't be discouraged. I'm going to have them archived. I can go back to them and I'll try to see if I can share one a day. That's what I want to get to. Lynn saying, yes, I was there for the car show, and I was able to be there from the car show as well. Banner Realty was my source of my Wi-Fi source. The website for Bandaloop had different times that contradict each other. I have no idea when it actually is. Okay, interesting. Don't you hate that when you have different sources and they contradict each other and it just gets difficult? But we'll see. We'll get it narrowed down. But yeah, that's going to do it for us, folks. Don't forget to send in those pictures. I appreciate all of you chiming in this morning. It was so much fun. Let's take a look and leave you with a camera of Lake Oroville, North Forebay, and a couple of other cameras in the area. In the meantime, we will see you. Have yourselves a great day, first and foremost. But number two, we will see you tomorrow morning right here on Coffee with Krueger starting at 7 a.m. Have a great day, everyone.